What is up, everybody? Welcome to today's News Tonight, a special Saturday episode because I don't read my calendar. As always, I'm joined by my co-founders in Good Vibes Gaming, Ash Paulson and Derek Bittner. And as you can see, we have a special guest, my good friend, someone I've talked about on the show before, author of 101 Games to Play Before You Grow Up, co-host of the Memory Card podcast with Push Dustin, and he started a Kickstarter recently, none other than Ben Bertoli. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Yeah,
it's a good day.
Weekend, feeling good. Yeah.
I want to ask you more about this Kickstarter, Ben, but before I do that, I do have to mention that today's episode is sponsored by none other than Straight-Lace and The Soul Device. Good friend of the channel, somebody who has given us so much support. We love you so much. Here's what Straight-Lace has to say for today's episode. The Soul Device is a puzzle platformer where the player uses a number of ARM-mounted devices to solve puzzles by creating platforms and mirrors, flipping switches, interacting with electronics, and more, using the player's HP as a battery to power the devices. A sequel is also currently in development that expands upon the ideas of the first game and adds even more functionality to the original devices, but will also feature an expansion with 4 additional devices for the player to use, upgrade, and explore a new map with. You can find more information on the Soul Device 1 and 2 on Straight-Lace's YouTube channel, where he posts developer updates and different mechanics that he will be using in the Soul Device 2. Any and all feedback is appreciated. There's a link to Straight-Lace's channel in the chat if you're watching live, and there will be one in the description if you're watching the VOD version later on. We'd appreciate you going over there, checking out what he has to offer, and looking into the Soul Device 1 on Steam right now, and checking out his development progress on the Soul Device 2 on his channel. Thanks again to Straight-Lace for sponsoring this episode. We appreciate you so much. Speaking of folks,
I swear he has new elements every time we read copy.
I know, right?
He does, no, they do.
It's almost like his ads are a devlog for his game, because we're finding out more and more about what he's doing, which is kind of cool. Speaking of folks making games, though, I alluded to this earlier. Ben, you've started a Kickstarter.
Yes,
so why don't you tell us more about Bark Magic?
So Bark Magic is a tabletop game that I've been developing with my wife for quite a while now, but just in the last year we kind of honed it all in, all the gameplay, and everything involved, the characters and how the phases go. And so recently we launched our Kickstarter, like you said, and the focus is that you play as a wizard dog who is casting spells and trying to dig up these ancient relics in these ruins. And the first person to get 3 mystic gems is the winner. But there's a lot you have to do to get to that point. So
sounds really cool, man.
You had me at Wizard Dog, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard you mention digging up relics, and I just imagined like a dog in a wizard's robe tearing apart my backyard.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, yeah. I mean, it might be one of those things where the dog thinks they're in some mystic ruins, but really it's just, behind the Home Depot or something.
I've been there.
Right.
We've all had one drink too many at E3, I think. Anyway. Listen, I'm not saying I was behind a Home Depot. You know what? Anyway, let's go ahead.
No, it was a different hardware store.
Yeah, it was a Lowe's. Come on.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you and I both have at least once in our lives had one drink too many at E3, Steve.
Yeah, I've definitely had at least one too many at E3 before.
and thought that you were transported to a magical realm. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just say that. I definitely was transported somewhere. I've told enough drunk stories on this channel. People know I like to party. All right. Anyway, speaking of things that might induce one to party, we have this first story from Bloomberg, which has a ton of information about the alleged Switch Pro. So the Bloomberg article is hidden behind a paywall. Fortunately, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name on Reddit. A Redditor transcribed the key points here. So it says, Bloomberg posted a new article. It's locked for terminal subscribers, so link may not work. Here's the TLDR version. Bloomberg has reiterated that the new Switch will launch in holiday 2021, so they're doubling down on that. Hardware sales will either remain flat or grow slightly. Okay, I don't think that's a surprise. Like, yeah,
that's
they
more
might
speculative,
do.
I think. Yeah.
Who's going to predict that it'd do worse? If Nintendo thought
Exactly.
like, this new Switch is going to be terrible, let's release it.
That's right.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
doesn't even have a screen.
Yeah. Higher expectations are placed on the Switch Pro. That's what it's referred to in the article. Than the PS4 Pro, which sold 2 million in its launch window. So this is just internal projection stuff. Launch quarter could reach up to 12 million units sold. That's September
That makes
to
sense
December.
depending on what they launch it with.
Right.
Yep, exactly. According to the hardware forecast, they speculate that the MSRP could be higher for the revision, upwards of 20%. So that would
Makes
roughly
sense.
place it in the $349.99 category. Although 20% would be $359. But when's the last time you saw a piece of hardware priced around there? It's usually either $349 or $399. So if they're saying 20,
Nintendo will do it.
Yeah.
It's Nintendo.
Although,
They'll
yeah,
pick some
good
weird
point.
arbitrary price point.
$358.84.
Yeah.
It's interesting they're saying that they'll just make it more expensive than the Switch rather than the original Switch just going down in price and lowering it across the board for the previous two and then having this one at the 300.
Yeah,
just to stay competitive.
These last two bullet points are probably the most interesting. They say that Zelda is a strong launch game candidate, which, with several round-out titles to accompany it. And the last one, the performance of this revision is expected to be in line with the PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X. Woof. Like a portable PS4 Pro would be insane.
That would
Yeah.
be. I can't help but kind
No.
of not fully
Are you
take
sure?
that at face value.
When they said performance, I thought they were talking sales performance, not actual performance of the console itself. Because that is a hell
I
of a
guess you
jump.
could read it. I guess you could read it either way. I actually read that as like under the hood performance. in
Yeah,
terms
that's
of
how I
powerful
read
the
it,
system
too.
would
No,
be,
I was
but-
thinking sales performance because they were talking about that earlier, but
Right.
That's a
It's
good
hard to
point.
say. You could read it either way. I mean, it is hard to believe that
Let's-
a portable
Yeah.
device would have, power in line with the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X and not be absurdly expensive.
And
Or absurdly large.
yeah, I was going to say, a really big system. Let me
Yeah.
see if there's anything in the comments where they kind of clarify that last point. Because I agree, Derek, that it seems like that is a possibility, but I wonder... Let's see. Bloomberg is suggesting seems to imply no or little handheld improvement. They're suggesting DLSS is going to... Okay, so they are talking about hardware, power.
okay.
But to be clear...
Maybe it's going to have a dock. Maybe the dock will have something built into it to make it really powerful on the TV, but still just pretty good in handheld.
Yeah. So I think what they're implying, though, is that NVIDIA's going to use DLSS, which basically is kind of like it's not actually running at 4K. It's running at 1080p, and then they're upscaling it somehow.
Right.
So that would definitely explain it because, yeah, you can't fit. I mean, I don't have a PS4 Pro back here anymore, but I was going to say you can't fit guts that powerful into something as small as this current model of the Switch. So I don't know how they would do it, but if it's fancy upscaling, that kind of makes more sense. But yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like I would say at a raw hardware performance level, I would expect a portable Switch, like an upgraded Switch, to probably match the original models of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Definitely
seems more
not
likely.
the
Yeah.
upgraded models. But I guess you could say, DLSS didn't exist when those machines came out. And I guess through upscaling, if you had something that was roughly as powerful as a base PlayStation 4, that you could probably use DLSS to upscale that and make a convincing 4K image. But yeah, definitely, no native 4K is happening on this thing at all.
Does Bloomberg have a source for this, or are they just saying from their own sources?
Yeah, see, that's...
Because it's more going off of Derek Ladovich's comment here, where they say these are the safest, most obvious predictions ever. I don't know why anyone believes rumors every single time. I think there's so many that I think that's why they believe them. It's just the specifics of the enhanced Switch that everybody's trying to figure out, and it's either going to be a massive upgrade or a modest upgrade. It's
Right.
that's sort of what people are trying to figure out. But again, I'm not sure because Bloomberg's relatively reputable. So where are they getting this info from?
Yeah, obviously I don't know for this article because it's hidden behind a paywall and the Reddit stuff is kind of all over the place, but they tend to kind of read tea leaves from a supply chain standpoint most of the time. Like, oh, hey, Nintendo's ordered this display from Samsung, so it obviously must be going to a new Switch, or that tends to, at least to me, appears to be where most of their leaks come from. But they do employ Jason Schreier now, so that's I mean he was
go.
just doing what Jason Schreier does, having a beer with the
into
CEO
his
of
pocket
Nintendo
or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think to also piggyback on what Derek said in the chat, I think the whole point is none of us are taking all of these points at face value and saying we totally believe them. There's some stuff that seems like it could be realistic in terms of expectations for an upgraded Switch, but there's other stuff here, like we were just saying, depending on how you read it, they're saying this thing is going to be equivalent to power to a PS4 Pro and an Xbox One X. We don't believe that. Like, there's just no way that's going to happen. So with any rumors, you got to take them with a grain of salt. However, I think all three of us can say we have all been in positions before reporting on news where rumors on Reddit or whatever actually turned out to be right. So, it does sometimes happen that these rumors are accurate.
Sometimes, but it's just not remember, often. I've gone through a lot where it's wrong.
No,
and
it's not often, but you can't dismiss everything out of hand. It's too.
Oh, I can try.
You can try. Yes, you can try.
I would say the key thing to remember is take your mind back to mid 2016 when we all were trying to figure out what the hell the NX was, and there was a million different reputable rumors out there about what this thing was going to be, and it wasn't until a month before the official reveal where the rumors from every single place started to kind of coalesce into one thing, like, oh, hey, it'll be portable, it'll have detachable controllers, and there was like your fringe weirdos saying it's an AMD box, it's gonna be just like the PlayStation, but once you start seeing all the sites like agreeing on the same thing, then you're probably safe to assume most of that is true, because even with the NX stuff, even once we had the kind of overall vision of what it was, there were still details that every single site got wrong. So it is important just to approach it all with a handful of salt, because there's definitely probably some truth to this, but it's not accurate, not 100%.
Yeah, it's very easy for one person to tell multiple people, and everybody reports that as their own thing, so everybody thinks there's multiple sources when really it's just one guy.
Yep, remember that Star Fox Racing game, folks?
Yeah. That was like a plant, wasn't it?
That was definitely not real.
Up. Yeah.
That's such a shame. I wanted that to be real so badly, even though I knew all along.
Pokemon Star, anyone?
Yeah, Pokemon
Pokemon Stars. I forgot about that. What about I
Metroid Prime Trilogy, which we all thought was coming out?
That one just makes sense.
I still believe that's real. I still believe that's a real thing.
It did come out. It came out twice. Just not for the Switch.
I still think that's real, but of course the big one that we've all been through in terms of really being dragged through the mud with it was that damn Grinch leak, which
you mean the one we all
never
knew
have
was
to
fake?
Experience anything like that ever again. It'll be too soon.
The one I reported on, and in the update itself was like, this is not true. This is not true.
Right.
Yeah,
I wanted it to be
just
real.
Because you want something to be true doesn't make it true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we do have some confirmed news from an actual hardware manufacturer. So let's go ahead and talk about that for a minute. I'll put that up on screen now. So Sony has been slowly pulling the covers back on the latest iteration of PlayStation VR, and this week they decided to introduce brand new controllers, which, thank God, they've been using those PlayStation Move wands since the PS3 for no apparent reason. And they're finally doing something that looks a little more modern. And it's got a bunch of cool tech in it. They say that it has the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback from the DualSense. And it's got finger touch
immediate
detection.
buy Ash.
Yeah.
Well, this was already for other reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, so this is really cool. I'm interested, though, if they're introducing the controllers and all this other stuff, and they've mentioned the headset has one cable. I really want to see what the headset itself looks like, but I am very down for this. As somebody who owns the Valve Index, the finger tracking tech on that thing is ridiculously cool. Yeah, like you can. I mean, the one thing that I noticed though is it says finger touch detection, and to my mind, that means that you could like close a fist, thumbs up, other less friendly gestures with it. So I have to wonder though. I mean, you probably can't open your hand. It looks like, based on the pictures, that it would just. The guy's wearing like Wiimote style wrist straps. It looks like. So they'd probably dangle, but that would be a pain in the ass to get back.
It's like circular,
I think
though,
it's,
right? Isn't it like around your hand?
Yeah, it's almost like boxing gloves.
Yeah.
See, but
so maybe if you drop it, it just kind of.
Well, I think what would happen is it would fall away from your hand, and there's like a strap that dangles. It would just fall down like a Wiimote.
Yeah, I think it is just a Wiimote type thing, not anything specific.
Yeah, like the Valve Index has like a knuckle strap that you put on and you tighten so that when you let go, it's still stuck to the palm of your hand. And they don't seem to have that. But it seems like a really simple thing to fix if that's what you want. You know, if you want people to be able to do full open hand gestures. But I guess I don't know. I mean, I think it's really cool. Plus, you know, the Index is a $1,200 headset, and this is hopefully not that. I don't want to pay $1,200 for a PlayStation headset. I would be very happy if they kept it in the $200 to $300 range that they have. I
have to say, aesthetically, I like the design of these things. I do share your concern, Steve, about letting the controllers dangle from the wrist straps in terms of how feasible is it going to be to get those controllers back into the proper position in your hands, right? Especially with the headset on. But in terms of aesthetics, I mean, they look comfortable. I like the way they look, and I'm just excited for this because I haven't really had much of a chance to dip into VR, but every time I have, I've loved it. But I just didn't want to add like a million wires to my setup with the first PSVR. So knowing this is a single wire solution from what they've said before, I'm already all in. But these controllers just kind of make me even more excited. And furthermore, I kind of wonder, it's weird how this news randomly dropped because they haven't really talked officially about the PSVR success for too much yet. So this makes me wonder if it's a little further along in development than we may realize.
It probably is. I mean, that might also explain why they put a bunch of VR games for free.
Right.
That's part of the whole Sony thing. True. It's like, yeah, maybe you want to pick this up for when you maybe do get Sony, PlayStation VR from PS5. Maybe not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to see a lot more before I'm convinced on VR. VR has a lot of convincing for me to do for me because it is expensive. It seems unwieldy, and there's just not a lot of games there. Like there's some cool ones. Like, a lot of the games they put up on the for free do look cool. I wouldn't mind checking out, but it's also one of those things like, do I really need to jump into this? It just doesn't feel worth it yet.
I'm in that same camp. The only thing I really want to play is Beat Saber. But
that makes sense. Pretty well. It's kind of weird with VR because I agree with what you two are saying, Derek and Ben as well. Like, it's not. I'm not fully convinced it's that next pillar yet. That it's gotten to that point where it's like the next big thing. I don't think it's there yet. But I do have to say there's a weird dichotomy where it's either okay, I don't care about playing any of these games VR. But then there are the ones that it's like I have tried, or the very specific ones I want to play that are like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like I played Resident Evil in VR, and it was like life-changing gaming-wise for me. I've never played anything like it in VR. It's incredible. Same thing with Astrobot. Everybody loves Astrobot, and I loved Astro's Playroom. So there are certain things I really want to play, but in terms of it being a mainstream platform, I agree with you guys. It's not there yet for me either.
Man, so I would say that VR for me has the same novelty that going to the arcade did when I was a kid. Like you're playing games that you can't experience in a different way. For instance, and I wish I could remember the name of it. There's this obvious Punch-Out ripoff in VR, and it is so damn satisfying to play it because you actually have to dodge the punches and punch back yourself with your actual hands, and so that is an incredibly fun game to play. Like there's no star punches, you just have to actually wind up and throw a very heavy punch, and that is really cool. Although I will admit there was this overriding sense of fear of like, what if a little kid walks by and I just haymaker the hell out of a little kid?
Yeah.
But other than that, like as long as you're playing in a safe environment, VR can be like Super Hot in VR is incredible. Oh my god, I don't think I've ever played a game that gave you a better sense of a power fantasy in VR than Super Hot. Like shooting someone and then everything goes into slow motion. And yeah, really a lot of fun. But I do agree that VR has several fundamental issues that nobody's solved yet. I've said it before. Motion is definitely a big issue. You know, you don't have an infinite space to run around in. You're tethered to a cable, so on. You know, it'd be nice to have a wireless VR system that somehow solved the movement issue. But
you got to get one of those special treadmills that lets you move in all directions.
I saw that the other day.
Oh, yeah.
I got hit with a targeted advertisement for one of those.
I think the other thing that's tricky about VR for me is that a lot of the stuff I want to play isn't like official stuff. Like there are mods there are like fan mods that I really want to play, but if I'm going to do that, it's not going to be on PlayStation VR. It's got to be with one of those much more expensive headsets that I still just don't want to buy into yet. But there's like a Sonic VR mod that I really want to check out. There's years ago somebody they remade at least a portion of Pokemon Gold and Silver from first person perspective. Like you're in the 4-bit Game Boy world, and like that kind of stuff interests the hell out of me. Like I really want to check that stuff out, but not for as much money, not for the buy-in that VR still requires, unless you're getting on a bespoke platform like PlayStation VR.
Oh yeah, I played. Steam has like a VR hub, and I downloaded Peach's Castle for it. So when I'm not playing a game, I'm just in Peach's Castle from Mario 64,
cool.
which is really cool. I have Hyrule Field from Ocarina of Time as well, so I can just explore around. I have Clock Town. Those are really, really cool things. I also have a fan-made Duck Hunt game. You can just play NES Duck Hunt in VR, which is really cool. And it looks, 8-bit, like just with weird 3D effects.
Yeah, I was going to say. So when you're in the Ocarina of Time world, does it look like you're in the N64 version, or is it like upscaled, like nicer?
Oh no, it looks like the N64 version. It can be pretty rough in certain parts, but you can get. I mean, some people have actually went through the effort of rather than porting the environments out of the game, just recreating them, and they do look really good. But I mean, it's a novelty at best. It definitely isn't worth spending $1,000. But I'm an idiot, so of course I did.
Oh man, Classy Mudkip says the Majora's Mask moon hovering over you in VR Clocktown sounds terrifying. I imagine it must be, Steve.
It is very unsettling.
Nice.
All right, so we've probably talked enough about VR. We've got a lot of other stuff to cover, so I'm gonna move on to our next story. This is kind of a big one. So Sony bought Evo, which is a weird sentence to say out loud. For those of you that don't know, Evo is basically like the premier fighting game tournament in the world. Like people converge in Las Vegas every summer and they play a number of games, whatever's hot. But Smash is a staple at that tournament. And Nintendo, seems not too keen on the fact that Sony has purchased Evo. They released a statement provided to Newsweek, or to provide to IGN and reprinted by Newsweek, which says Nintendo has enjoyed engaging with fans at past Evo tournaments and wish the show organizers the best with their new venture. We will continue to assess Evo and other opportunities as we plan for future online and offline Super Smash Bros. Tournament activity. I mean, wishing folks the best is usually a fancy way of saying we're never going to speak again.
Well, I think this might have less to do with Sony buying them or buying Evo though, and more to do with the
Mr. Wizard.
The shit surrounding, Mr. Wizard, the Evo higher ups or the higher up, all the allegations against him, and not just that, but all the shit that the Smash community has been, has had going on. I mean, at the same time. So I think Nintendo's just kind of stepping away from the tournament scene, the sponsored tournament scene a little bit in general. But maybe if things work out on the Evo side in terms of all the controversies, maybe we'll see Smash back at Evo 2022. I hope. It's gonna be a shame without it.
It's a great way to end it off.
It's a tough spot to put Nintendo in for sure, because like you said, the Smash community had a lot go on, like really, really bad allegations going through the Smash community, many of which proved to be accurate, which is oof.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunate is definitely a way to describe it that is a little less profane than what I would say.
Right.
And there's also just the fact that, like you said, on top of that, Evo had its own drama, which again is very similar in nature to what happened in the Smash community. I just don't want to talk about it. I got kids; it makes me sick. But
I hear you, man.
it's so Nintendo probably had already decided, like, we're not fucking with Evo or Smash for a while. Like, it's all a bit radioactive.
And it's going to be digital as well, which isn't really ideal. Like, I don't think any of the Smash players wants to play just a digital tournament.
That's also true because Smash's online is so poor.
The FGC is really not big on online tourneys, strictly because there's a number of factors that can mess with your competitive play, and I get that this is a group of people that don't like to play wireless controllers, so asking them to play online is definitely a big ask in some cases. But I guess
I have a feeling that Melee's not going to make it, guys.
Oh man,
no,
I don't think.
Don't think so.
Jeez.
I mean, that's the one I wouldn't miss. It's Ultimate that I want to keep seeing at Evo. But again, Ultimate's online is so poor comparatively to pretty much everything else there that it doesn't make sense. And I'd rather, if Smash is ever going to be back at Evo, and I hope it is, and that goes for both Ultimate and Melee. I'd like to talk shit about Melee, but both fine. I'd like for it to be in person, right? I think that would be the hypest way they could bring Smash back to Evo. So. And I just hope that Evo is in person again next year with the pandemic in the rearview mirror, hopefully by then, that we can enjoy an in-person Evo again. Because I used to go every year. I love fighting games, or at least watching high-level play because I'm not that good.
Yeah, I would definitely love to go. I mean, it's a 5-hour drive from my house, so if I could, I would.
It's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
It'd be a bit of a trip for me.
Just a bit, slightly, yeah.
I do kind of want to check out the Guilty Gear Strive gameplay because I've watched a lot of Guilty Gear stuff, but that game's so gorgeous. Like, kind of want to see that because, geez.
I still want them to make the next Street Fighter. I would be so happy if Arc System Works got their hands on Street Fighter and made it look like the 90s anime movie that they did or something to that effect. Oh, that would be heaven.
Oh, that would be pretty cool. I don't think they'd ever do that, but that would be pretty... I feel like that would have to be relegated to a spin-off at best, like a new Street Fighter EX type thing, where it's like this kind of sub-series. I don't think Capcom would ever hand their baby,
they absolutely
their fighting game baby to it. Yeah.
I'm just...
Yeah, but
honestly,
it would be cool.
I'm sick of Capcom catering towards the Western audience with how they do their character design and stuff like that. I want Capcom games to look like Capcom games.
Right.
But at least, and I can't believe that I'm the one doing this, at least we still have Mega Man. They're never going to make Mega Man appeal to a Western audience visually. So
they
attempted it with that X.
They did.
That Maverick Hunter thing that was thankfully canceled. I never thought I'd be happy for a Mega Man project getting canceled, but I was so thankful that never made it to the
lineup. It could have been Metroid Prime levels, man.
Look, I'd be down for that if X just didn't look the way he did. The art direction in that was just hideous. I'm sorry, it was. All respect to the guy who made it. It wasn't his fault. He was asked to do a job, and he did a great job. But the idea was bad from the beginning, and I'm just so glad it didn't get made.
I mean, I think they nailed it with that first NES box cover.
Oh, God. That'll never die. And it shouldn't goes because it's hilarious. Yeah. It is worth noting that even though PlayStation bought Evo, it has been made clear on the Evo side that the tournament will remain to all platforms. So Smash not being involved has nothing to do with PlayStation buying it. It is completely still a platform-agnostic tournament.
Which is the right
cool.
move.
Yeah.
Right.
Whenever Killer Instinct comes back,
right? Yeah.
Keep it going.
Well, speaking of taking trips to see Nintendo stuff, let's hop on over to our next story. And of course, I'm talking about the ultimate Nintendo-related trip, Super Nintendo World, which Shigeru Miyamoto recently went on record to say is hiding a few Easter eggs, including his personal autograph somewhere. This just stings. I want to go so bad, and had COVID not been a thing, I absolutely would have gone. I would have spent whatever ridiculous amount of money it would take to go to Japan and go to Universal in Osaka and see Super Nintendo World, but I can't because the world is terrible.
Now,
but
does that mean that his signature that his signature is like etched into like some of the scenery somewhere, or is he like rolled up little scrolls that he's signed and hidden them throughout?
I think it's in the scenery because looking at this article, GameSpot reported we're walking Koopa's castle in Japan, and there's this big portrait of Bowser that he's had installed of himself because he has a healthy sense of self. At the end of the hall, and it's not signed because it's just a portrait or a prop or whatever. And we said, Miyamoto-san, there's no artist signature there. So we handed him a Sharpie and he signed it right then and there. Then we came back and clear-coded it. So you'll find his signature on the artwork in the land, which is a special moment for us. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Very cool.
That's so cool.
There you go. He signed the Bowser painting.
Someone's going to try
cool.
and steal it.
I want to go so badly.
I'll
steal it.
So I don't know if it's actually hidden because they just told you exactly where to find it.
Yeah.
But I guess you wouldn't know that if you didn't see an article like this.
True.
Right.
Mario
wanna
8A
go.
in the
I wanna
chat
see all the
says,
stuff for
imagine
myself."
speedrunning Super Nintendo World, which
Oh, God.
I'm sure some
Yeah.
little kids
Fast
have already
pass, baby.
done.
I mean, I guess maybe some silver lining is that by the time we do make it over there, the Donkey Kong expansion will hopefully be open, and we can just,
Maybe.
that'll be
Yeah,
more
That's
fun.
what I'm talking about.
But I want to go so badly, man.
Ben here might
I'm
be
right
the
there with you,
biggest
Steve.
Donkey Kong fan of us all. I
Oh yeah.
I can't think. Maybe
do. I have
Blessing Jr. from Kind of Funny likes Donkey Kong more, but it's
Yeah.
debatable.
I have a
So,
Donkey Kong
if
arcade
that's the
cabinet
case, Ben-
in my loft.
Oh,
If
that's
that's the
awesome.
case, Ben, I have to ask you, since you're such a big Donkey Kong fan, one of our biggest, most ardent fans, his name is Jesse, aka Kitty Kong Facts, and this person is more committed to loving Kitty Kong than I think I've ever seen anybody committed to loving a character. I can't stand
Yeah.
Kitty Kong. I think he made Donkey Kong Country 3 worse in every way. What are your thoughts on Kitty Kong? I have to know
Well,
from a
I
Donkey
mean-
Kong hardcore fan.
I have to tell you this. I'm a little biased because growing up, having rented like the original Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Country 2, the original Donkey Kong Country games, the only one I ever owned was Donkey Kong Country 3. So it like has a special place in my heart. And as much as I, Kitty Kong's not great. I think at some point I did a Kotaku ranking of every Kong that like ever existed, and he was pretty close to the top, or I should say the bottom. But he's fine. I'm not a huge fan. I'm more of a Lanky Kong guy myself, who I feel like doesn't get enough love.
Nice.
But yeah, we'll see.
Lanky Kong's pretty cool. Lanky Kong's all right.
Yeah. Actually, right here I have the Donkey Kong Country novelization, the chapter book. Just
Novelization.
Wow.
What?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, does this go into
So,
like the Great Ape War and everything?
No, I wish, but it's got these awesome like illustrations that are. I almost want to like color them in, but we did a bonus
awesome.
episode. We did a
didn't know that
bonus episode
existed.
of Memory
I didn't
Card.
either. That's so cool.
How,
Yeah. There's a bonus episode of Memory Card where I read the entire thing. You can go listen to it. It's out there. It's about 40 minutes long. It's just me doing all the voices for all the characters and having fun with it.
well, if that's not an advertisement, I don't know what is, because, geez.
Right. That's cool though.
Speaking of
It's
voice
fun.
acting, Ben does the best SpongeBob laugh I've ever heard.
Oh, boy.
The means
want
by
to
which
give
he
me a try?
achieves it are a little interesting, but he definitely does it, and he does it well.
Let's see. It's been a long time since I've done it, because if I ever do it in front of my students, because I'm a teacher, it's all they do the rest of the day. I can't get them to stop.
Oh, of course.
Let's see. I haven't done it in a while.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's how Tom Kenny does it, too.
That's really
Yeah,
good.
no, it is. I think I picked that
I
up
don't even
in,
watch
in
SpongeBob,
middle
and I know
school.
that's good.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. Yes, one of my many talents.
One of many. Speaking of your talents, our next story should be of particular interest to you, Ben. Let me go ahead and throw that up on the screen here. So Steamforged
wild.
Games has announced Sonic the Card Game releasing in 2021. I don't know what to
Perfect.
make of this. Like, I never thought of Sonic as a card game.
You can
Same.
finally.
This just gives me
We're
Sonic Shuffle thoughts, because that was all
Right.
card based as well. So
Yeah.
That's not a good image.
no,
I think this also is just it hurts particularly right now because we're all waiting for any Sonic game to be announced, especially Sonic Mania 2, and there's been nothing but silence on that front. But now we're getting a Sonic card game. Okay. I mean, I don't want to like write it off.
I mean, they could
I'm
make
not
it
a
like
big
the
card game guy.
Pokemon trading card game, which everybody loves. I mean, that'd be
That's
kind of
true.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The website description says Sonic's the name and Speed is the game, literally. Join the beloved Blue Blur in a competitive card racing game where you'll collect power-ups and rings to win. It's fast family fun you'll race through again and again. Okay.
Interesting.
Is it a?
Sure.
I wonder if it's a deck building game or if it's something more along the lines of actual Pokemon.
Sounds like a tabletop kind of game, like like Uno or
Yeah.
something like that,
Yeah.
or Sushi
Like
Go,
Bark Magic
one
or
of
something.
those. Bark Magic,
Right. Bark Magic.
where you collect
You can
dogs
finally
and dog spells.
you can
But
finally
yeah,
banish people
I
to
think
the
I'd be
Shadow
more
Realm,
like-
but it just has Shadow the Hedgehog instead. It's a little different.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
It's pretty good.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be more, probably not more into it because I'm not a card game guy, but I'd be like cooler with this if we just knew the next Sonic video games that were on the horizon, specifically
Yeah.
Mania 2, you know? But what are you going to do?
See, I want to know the rules, and I want to know if is it just like is it Uno or is it Magic? I think that's the comparison there, because
Right.
if it's more like Magic, I want to see the artwork. I'm like, what do they got here? Are they going to just use, the usual stuff that we see all the time, or are they going to make
Right.
special artwork that kind of gives some life to the characters, which would be really cool.
That would be neat.
That would
I
be
just
cool.
hope that one of the rules is you have to be doing voice impressions of Sonic characters the whole time you're playing the game, because I would annoy everybody
You're too
so much.
slow.
Oh man, I would. My wife would never play a card game with me again if I did that.
I do that during normal card games
before-
anyway. So
Nice. Before we move on to the next news story, we're talking about a blue platforming mascot. Did remind me of something I wanted to mention before we move on. Get my mega mention in now. Today, everybody, is the 20th Japanese
yeah.
anniversary of Mega Man Battle Network, the series.
Oh, yeah.
So
And-
I just love that series to death. So happy 20th anniversary, Battle Network.
And by extension, the Game Boy Advance itself. Because didn't that release
Also
day and date
true.
with the Game Boy Advance? Yeah.
is it? Oh
Did
yeah.
I think it did in Japan. Maybe it did.
Yeah, I don't think
In
it
Japan,
didn't-
I'm
it didn't
fairly
here.
certain because I imported my Game Boy Advance and Battle Network because I was like, oh, hey, a Mega Man game.
Okay.
coming
Of
out
course
with
you
this.
did. Of course you did.
Yeah, I think it came out here a little bit after the GBA's launch, but it came out pretty close to the launch here.
I remember, what did we call the clear blue GBA in America? Arctic blue?
I think it
I
was
think so.
something
That
like
sounds
that.
familiar.
They called it milky blue in Japan. I was like, that is the least appetizing. Like,
Yeah,
give me the
But you don't
milky
wanna
blue. It
eat
sounds
it.
like something that came out of a wound. Like,
No,
Yeah,
no, that's just a Star Wars reference.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
oh man. So yeah, I have a lot of really great memories with the series. Obviously, I'm a Mega Man fan, period. But I do specifically love Battle Network a lot. So I just have a lot of great memories of it, and I can't believe it's 20 years old. And Capcom, where's our Battle Network Legacy Collection? Make it happen, please. We
yeah,
want
it seems weird that we haven't gotten anything.
Well, I mean, it's not really time yet either, in the sense that for Mega Man X's recent anniversary, they didn't start announcing stuff until a little bit into it. So it is just now today, and it might be, we might get something in a couple of months. Who knows?
True.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
All right. Mario 88, do you have some DBZ trading cards, Steve? I do. I'm not going to lie. I totally have. I have a binder with some Dragon Ball cards in it.
I had a few because I think they came with some of the DVDs, or it came with something at some point. I forget exactly what. And I looked into the rules. I'm like, I don't understand. This game makes no sense to me. I had such a hard time figuring it out.
Yeah, I have. There was an old. I wish this game took off. There was an old anime-based TCG called Animehem, and it literally had like every anime in the world in it. Like there was Ranma, Tenchi Muyo, Dragon Ball. Like you could have Goku fight Ranma
sounds
Saotome
awesome.
in a card game.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
I know. I have a bunch of cards for it.
That's cool.
It's like Jump
they're
Force,
worth-
the card game.
Basically,
There you go.
yeah. I also have some of the Japanese like Dragon Ball Z card ass games. I think it's just called card ass.
Yeah.
mean, what
I
a
always
name.
said card DOS just because it sounded a little less awful when you say card DOS, but yeah, it's basically just spelled card ass, basically.
Yeah.
My
I
God.
have some
Yeah.
card ass cards somewhere, and I have some really, really old Pokemon cards, but none that are worth anything. Which story of my life? But anyway, anyway, moving on. we've got three more stories. God, we got to get moving.
Yeah.
So, top of the list of things Ben cares about: indie games and Xbox together. So Microsoft.
Hey, I finally
and
have
Twitch.
an Xbox. Come on.
Which one?
I've never owned an Xbox, so there you go.
Xbox One. Yeah.
Oh, well, there we go. I mean, this will
right.
still be relevant, I guess. So,
Yeah.
Microsoft is teaming up with Twitch for an indie showcase on March 26th. They'll be showing off 25 indie games, or more than 25. They mention some specific titles: Second Extinction, The Ascent, The Wild at Heart, Void Train, Exo 1, and an update on Stalker 2. I don't know what any of
I'll
these
be honest.
games are.
I was about to say, I
Yeah.
don't really know any of these. Like,
Yeah, I don't either. That said, I'm a big indie game fan, or indie gaming fan in general. So
Yeah, me too.
I have two Xboxes waiting in the wings. I have an Xbox One S and I have an Xbox 360. Not that that's really relevant to this. But hey, I love indie games on all platforms. So if I see something during this that really strikes me, I'll check it out. That indie games are indie games regardless of where you play them. And there's so much for so many different fans of different genres in indie gaming. So who knows? I'm down to check it out.
It's funny to me because I was like, I clicked on a little connection here, and it has, they have highlighted Second Extinction and The Ascent, and I clicked on both just to see like, oh, what are these all about? And it just continues the Xbox tradition of like, yep, this is a shooter. Yep, that's a shooter.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I've been waiting on that one.
One's fighting dinosaurs, and the other one's just standing on red cliffs looking at a city. So it's like, oh.
What's that one about the fox with the sword that's been in development forever? Tunic. I've been waiting on that one. That's an indie game that Xbox has been pushing for, years and years, and I'm really hoping it finally comes out this year. It's like, it's almost like old school Zelda, but like isometric. It's really cool. So
I remember hearing about that, but I forget. I kind of assumed it already came out and just kind of passed by because I just haven't heard anything for so long. So
still in the works.
That sounds interesting.
And then the DLC for Cuphead. I don't know if that still counts as an indie game. I mean, it is, but
it totally is.
Is the DLC considered, a game in its own sense?
I mean, that's worth
it.
Yeah, I think it's worth. I think it'd still be a pretty hype announcement if they it's a shadow drop type thing.
That would be actually really hype,
or even just a release date for the damn thing.
They keep pushing it back, and that's fine. But
Cuphead and Silksong are the two that I really want to hear more about. I feel like Team Cherry's been really silent on Silksong for a while, and I'm not sure what the hell is going on with Cuphead. They tend to dramatically overestimate how quickly they can
take their time.
Get stuff out.
Yeah.
I have no problem with folks taking their time and taking even a long time to release something, but I wish they wouldn't attach a release date or a release window and then be like, hey, just kidding, we need like 3 more years. maybe just don't do that. Maybe just say it'll be ready when it's ready.
It's tradition at this point because they did it for the original game as well. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, sometime in 2028 we'll play it on the Xbox Series something.
I'm personally, I've definitely been enjoying Hollow Knight more than Cuphead because Hollow Knight's controls are just so precise and smooth and silky as butter. Like it is just it is. Like you never do anything you don't mean to do in that game. I love it.
Right. The indie game I'm most looking forward to right now, by far, and I know Derek will co-sign on this, is Blaster Master 03. I'm so excited. And that has nothing to do with the Xbox Indie event, but I'm so hyped for that game. And to anyone listening, if there's always this idea that sometimes people say, well, I'm just not into indie games as a rule. But that's acting like indie games are a genre, and they're not. They occupy a different sect in the gaming market. But they cover all genres that AAA games cover. So, if you've said before, oh, I'm not into indie games, maybe rethink that and just try a few. Because it's not as though indie games are their own bespoke genre that can't be enjoyed by anyone outside that genre, So
it's like people who say that they don't enjoy anime. I'm like, have you seen all of it?
Yeah.
There's a lot out
there. Exactly. Right.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. I feel like there will probably be at least 1 or 2 good things to come out of this Xbox presentation. I'll definitely watch it. I don't think it's going to be super hype or anything.
Are we going to react to it or not?
I was thinking maybe we should. Before the Square Enix Presents, I would say no. But given that we got 1,100 concurrent viewers for that Square Enix Presents, which was decidedly not hype at all, might as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I
mean, why not?
I'm game if you guys are.
Yeah, let's get a couple copyright claims, No big deal.
Oh, God. Well, that's
we
true.
always pick up one or two.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if
Based on
that
strikes.
That's true. I mean, there could be a lot of licensed music in this thing, so it may not be worth the risk.
No. Honestly, it's not that bad. We're really just doing it to hang out with the audience, and if it won't play ads, I'm not going to be too upset. I mean, I'm just not going to try to mute it every time a license. I learned my lesson.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
And
you played 8 milliseconds
all
of this song.
Well, and despite all your amazing efforts, Steve, and shout-outs to you, because you were the one muting the stream and not give it according to the timestamps that Square sent us beforehand, while you were in your work meeting for your full-time job. And despite your best efforts, it still got demonetized. It still got claimed, which is just nonsense. So, yeah. But props to you for getting that done regardless.
Yeah, it wasn't too hard to do, but yeah, it was definitely difficult given the notes they gave us to keep up with it. I mean, hopefully someday companies will just realize, like, hey, we need to find a way to file Content ID exceptions for folks that are restreaming our stuff. Because, I mean, the Game Awards said that they wouldn't do that to us if we were official co-streamers, and we were, and they did. So, they're like, don't worry, we'll take care of everything. We'll make sure that you can't monetize this video.
Well, and the thing is, too, like,
now we have a list of people to hit.
Well, and also
so
the thing
hopefully
is,
someday folks sort that out, because I mean, games these days at least have streamer-friendly options where you can turn off licensed tracks so your streams don't get demonetized. That's really cool. I appreciate that. Cyberpunk even had it. Maybe they should have put those efforts elsewhere, though. But I just wish that actual streams like held by these companies would start to think about those ramifications. They want us to restream their stuff, but they don't think about, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't pay Imagine Dragons $1 million to play one of their crap songs during one of our crap trailers.
Oh, shots fired.
Listen, if I could fire a shot at Imagine Dragons, I would do it.
Whoa. Be careful, Steve. They're radioactive.
But also, like, something I know Derek and I both noticed is that not being able to hear half or more of these trailers has a measurably deleterious effect on our ability to be excited, potentially. Like, I was into the Life is Strange True Colors trailer enough, and I was like, oh, okay, this looks pretty cool. But I didn't really get into it. And then it wasn't until I watched it later with my wife, that with the music and everything on, I was like, this is a damn good trailer. I'm hyped for this. And I'm sure Square wishes they could have had that kind of reaction on stream. But you can't when you can't hear anything.
I mean, we were so concerned about getting it muted and making sure it was all set. I was more focused on that than just watching the thing.
Yeah.
We'll just take the hits as they come next time.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not a strike. It's just a claim. So it's not like the channel is in danger if we play it.
No,
so.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so we could talk about YouTube monetization all day. It's something near and dear to our hearts, really. But I have a feeling our audience might want to hear a little bit more about video games. So
yeah,
here is our seventh story. We're breaking records today, folks. Shin Megami Tensei III Nocturne HD Remaster is releasing on May 25th in the West. I personally am not the world's biggest SMT fan. I think Derek is probably the most hyped for this by a country mile, as it were.
I mean that's the funny thing is I haven't even really. I've played Persona. I've not really played SMT, but I knew it came out a while ago in Japan, and we haven't had a release date for this one for a while. So the fact that we got one is a big thing. Plus, surprise PC version apparently coming. That's cool, and hopefully it has the improvements that were added to via patches to the Japanese release, because it came out not playing great, especially compared to the original on PS2. It just it didn't even have some quality of life things that really should have been there these days. But apparently they fixed that. So it's it should play a lot better. Should be a lot more fun. And so from my experience with SMT, limited it is, because I tried to play SMT4 on 3DS, and I got my ass kicked in the tutorial and stopped playing. Like, I could not beat the tutorial. But everybody says that the difficulty curve of SMT games are weird because it's really hard at the beginning and gets easier as time goes on. They just sort of throw you to the wolves right away. And everybody talks about, for the Nocturne, the Matador fight. Apparently that's the one where it's just like, nope, go no further until you figure out this guy, and he's going to beat you down until that happens. So there is that. But along with SMT, we are getting a digital edition, a digital special edition, a digital deluxe, I guess. And basically, if you pre-order it, you get to play this game 4 days early. They're doing the same thing they did with Persona 5 Strikers. But the in-game content includes the Maniacs Pack, which is how you get Dante from Devil May Cry in there, the Mercy and Expectation Map Pack, the Shin Megami Tensei Background Music Pack, and the Merciful Difficulty. Yeah.
Is that
extra
an easier
for easy difficulty?
Yeah, I don't like
Yeah,
that.
I don't know if Merciful is an easier difficulty or not, but yeah, the typical version is $50, so it's an extra $20 for those three things. But I don't know if it's a thing that happens for, like, if you buy the physical version, because there is going to be a physical version. So what do they do with those? I don't really know. I haven't really seen anything. But
all this sounds really cool.
Thing.
All this sounds really cool, except for having except for locking another difficulty level behind a paywall. That I don't like. Everything else, totally, it's extra content. That's cool. But yeah, the merciful difficulty being locked behind $20 more. Essentially, the Digital Deluxe Edition is $70. That doesn't sit right with me. But everything else sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I think people are excited for this one. I think a lot of people are hoping it kind of catches on because of Persona being so big right now.
Right.
So they're hoping that happens for the main series. I don't think Nocturne's going to be it, though. 5 maybe has potential.
Think so
Nocturne,
either.
I think, is just too very set in its ways. If everything I've heard, it's a good game. I definitely want to check it out, but there's a certain level of difficulty here. Like, prepare for a lot of Dark Souls comparisons, I assume. It's like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm. What's funny, too, is that assuming for a second that Merciful is an easier difficulty level, locking it to the $70 Deluxe Edition version, that seems like it's kind of counterproductive, right? Because it's most likely the hardest core SMT fans who are going to drop the extra money for that. And it's also the hardest core SMT fans who probably won't need an easier difficulty. So that's a little weird, but
some may appreciate it because these games can be really hard.
If Merciful,
sure.
if Merciful is a name, it isn't a name for the easiest difficulty. It is objectively the worst difficulty name I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's very true. I'm into Persona myself, but I've never really been able to get into the original core SMT series. I don't know if this is going to be the game that'll do it for me, but I know that there is a contingency of fans who really specifically love SMT and kind of look at Persona as the dirty offshoot that kind of waters down all the hardcore mechanics, and that's not how I see it. But hey, I'm glad this is coming out here for that subset of hardcore SMT fans.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it. I'm probably not going to pick it up. I'm happy for the folks that really want to see this. I really want to see 5 more than anything. I mean, it was announced same day as the Switch. Like, where the hell is it?
Right.
Seems really weird. I think that's officially the last game that was announced alongside the Switch that still hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, it is.
But what are you going to do? I thought Travis Strikes Again would take longer. Apparently not. I mean, like, that's the weird thing to me, because at least Shin Megami Tensei 5 had a trailer. Like, even if it was a teaser trailer, but Travis Strikes Again was Suda51 just going up there and being like, this thing looks cool. I'm going to make a game. It'll have some stuff. Maybe I'll talk to Devolver. I don't know. Like, it was very clear he had no clue what the hell he was going to make, but then he wanted to do something. And he still got it out before Shin Megami Tensei 5. And No More Heroes 3 is probably going to come out before it, too.
Probably.
Which, woof. But all right, hopefully Shin Megami
Yeah.
Tensei 5 comes out this year, but I honestly doubt it. I think we're still waiting till 2022 at this point.
I
Probably,
think so too.
maybe it'll be a Switch Pro launch title. Maybe they were just thinking
There
really
you
far
go.
ahead. All right, so going from Derek's favorite thing to Ash's favorite thing, let me get our next story up on screen here. And this is unbelievable. So there is an online Ace Attorney Orchestra concert that was announced in Japan for April 10th, but it's an online concert. And that means that overseas attendees can pick up tickets too. They're $42, and you can watch a live orchestra online. Basically, the most fun Zoom meeting you ever had. So
This
Ash,
is
I'm going to throw
bought.
this right to you because I know you're hype as hell for this.
Oh my god, because it's Ace Attorney, and it's Ace Attorney music, and it's an orchestra concert playing it live. Of course I'm going to buy this and watch this and be very excited. And of course, Derek, I know you are a fellow big Ace Attorney fan just like me. But specifically the music angle, of course, is what I'm excited for in this case. And I haven't played as much of the latter trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, but I just devoured the first 3 games, and all 3 of them have great music. So I can't wait to watch this concert. And this is something that seems to be happening a little more. I know there was recently that Undertale online concert too, and I guess people got to attend it live in Japan, but it was streamed for people around the world. And I think in that case it was free. You didn't have to buy a ticket.
Yes, it was.
But hey,
It looks like a
$42
lot of the
to watch
music is
this, I'm
actually
down.
from the Great Ace Attorney.
Oh, that's true. Actually, I did read that bit, and that'll be something to look forward to as well for me, since it's not official yet, but the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles is allegedly coming out here soon. So I'm sure I'll recognize some of the music from that when I do eventually play it.
I was
So
going to say,
I'm all
how
about
do you
this,
feel about that
obviously.
price point?
$42 seems worth it.
Seems high to me,
be able
but
to watch an exclusive online
yeah.
concert. So. I mean, you're talking to someone
That
who,
seems pricey to me for an online thing.
I mean, I hear you.
The one big advantage is like it is from Japan and all that, but
Right. I mean, I hear you, and I think to a lot of people that would be a little bit high, and that's fine. But you're talking to someone who took a vacation to Japan for the main purpose of going to the Rockman 30th anniversary concert. So if I'm willing to fly internationally to get to that concert in person, $42 to watch a concert online.
To be
other
fair,
video game music.
This is actually, I had to look it up, but this is a pretty standard price. So I've done a Japanese online concert before.
Oh yeah.
PSO2 used to do annual sympathy concerts. They called them sympathy. They were like, but it was basically the same thing, like a symphony playing music from the game. And I paid 4,000 yen to be in the audience for that online. That's roughly $42.
yeah.
And going live was 7,500 yen, which I also paid to have my sister-in-law go buy me merch from the from the merch table there. So I have a bunch of like PSO2 concert merch that I couldn't have gotten otherwise. But yeah, it's I mean, in Japan at least that seems to be a pretty standard price, because this is 4 years ago that I did that, and they're doing it again this year actually. April 24th, they're doing the 2021 concert, which again
Something
is
about April.
4,000 yen to go. So I might do that again actually for PSO2. But just it seems like a pretty standard thing these days. But who knows? Maybe
Plus,
it'll. Maybe I like the idea because folks like us don't have to go to Japan to see these things, and to me that's
Right.
that's a real nice
It is
bonus.
nice.
Yeah. So, and this is something that personally for me is worth it, though I certainly don't begrudge anyone who's like, $42 is a bit much to just watch an online concert of any music, video game music or not, whether you like it or not. I get it. But this is a very unique
Makes
thing
sense.
to me, and of course I'm just obsessed with video game music. So, for me, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I guess there are going to be special guests there. Voice actors from the games will be on stage. There's going to be character appearances. Maybe it sounds like there's going to be some cosplaying going on. If there are going to be actual character appearances. So
I know they're going to
be
be
a fun thing.
syncing the music to
They
the
did that
game
at the
itself.
Zelda one that I went to.
They do that at
Fun.
other video game concerts where they have like clips playing while the music goes on.
Right.
So. That makes
And
sense.
No. There you
well,
go.
oh yeah, no, the Zelda concert. Yeah, this is always fun, but it
I
does
have
seem
that-
as though looking at the
poster right
program
behind
that
me
it
for the
is.
Zelda concert. So
But yeah, looking at the program, it does seem to be primarily focused on Great Ace Attorney. So, and that's fine too, of course, because that's something I'll play when it comes out. There's someone who said, this is also the first time they referred to the Great Ace Attorney as that name in an official English announcement from the chat. So also, you're right, that's also really cool.
Nice.
Didn't even think about that. I'm so used to saying it.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, with that, I think we've covered all the news from the last 3 days. I don't want to say today's news. It's been a little while.
Yeah.
But before we sign off, I have
like
to
it worked
give
out.
huge thanks to our good friend Ben for rescheduling for us, especially so soon. So before we sign off,
Well,
Ben,
there's a lot of
tell me,
things, but
where can
you
our
can find
audience
me on
find
Twitter
you and the things
at
you're
Super
working on?
Bentendo, which is like, Nintendo, but with Ben instead of Nin. And Bark Magic, which is the card game that I'm currently kickstarting. Just go to Kickstarter and search Bark Magic. It should pop right up. We have a Twitter account for that as well with a very small following. It's just at Play Bark Magic. And then if you want to check out Memory Card, which is a gaming history podcast that I co-host with Push Dustin, you can find that at Memcard Show on Twitter. And then anywhere podcasts are found, you should be able to just search it up and find it.
Very, very
Nice.
cool. Yeah, I still need to get. I still need to check out your Kickstarter, and I need to find time to listen to any podcast, even ours. If I wasn't on every episode, I definitely wouldn't have seen them all. Anyway, though, but before we sign off, we have to give a special thanks to all of our patrons. No matter what tier you pledge at, we appreciate you all so much. But obviously, there's a special thank you to our patrons at the producer tier, because without y'all, we couldn't make this show happen. And you all know that. We love you from the bottom of our hearts. In addition, we have to give a massive thank you to our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And those fine folks are Jared Edinger, Brandon Bovia, Rob Arman X, Dan and Twistle, Z Patty, Hyrule Hermit, Sky Blue Flames, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Michael Phone, Floating Mew, Aiko Carroll, Christopher, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Nick Waterman, I lost my place, Kitty Kong Facts, Angel Martinez, Vedran Hotik, Macalau, John, Joshua Hunter, Evernight Studio, Benny Yao, Shadow the Cat, Alicia, Azran127, Kenrule09, Jake Pelka, Geller, Shiny Turkey, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Charlie Bird, Lucky Wonderfish, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Charles Zaz, Douglas Comics, Andrew Medeiros, Orem M, Phantom 23, Scott Barber, Patrick Harrison, Becca, Rocks the Cat, Fizzywig Hoyd, Loyal Dingo, Flaming Highwayman, Sean Garrett, The Legend of Groose, Eddie B, Kai Ed, Kit Fisto, West Egg, Masterlinks, Sean Davis, Deaneth, Jackson Jordan, Matthew Wong, Ashish Joshi, Goron Amber, Straight Lace, Hoobie, Wolf X Blake and Moon Macarons, Kane, Captain Finlandia, 60 Minutes in 60 Seconds, The Game Orb, Dano the Artist, Synchro Lord, Brainchild, my mom. Hi, Mom. Darkumi 87, The Flying Tacos, Scuff 196, Skull Kid Tiger, AJ Be Cool, Chip Damaged Mike, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Phantom Project, and Wheezy Penguin. Remember, you too can become a patron over at patreon.com/gvgaming, where you can watch today's news tonight live for as little as $5 a month and get our exclusive post show. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to Good Vibes Gaming for more good times like these. And until next time, good night and good vibes. Bye, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.